Mr. Leach, the time has come. Spiral finally releases this weekend. It's time to finish this game.
Finally. So Saw 5 tells the story of Jigsaw's newest apprentice trying to cover his tracks while a fellow agent is hot on his trail. Finally! Welcome back to the Saw review series, everybody. I apologize for the wait. This has been a ridiculously drawn out review series, but who could predict the world shutting down? You know, make the best of it, right? So we are back again with Saw 5. You're gonna get Saw 6 and Saw the final chapter here over the next couple of days leading up to Spiral, which drops on Friday, which will also be a review coming, obviously. I'm not gonna re-review Jigsaw. I do have that review already when the movie came out. My thoughts have not changed one bit on rewatch, so I really don't see the point in doing a review. I would say the exact same things. Back when these movies were originally debuting every single year, this was the movie that when I watched it, I kind of just lost all interest in Saw. Not to say that it's the worst one of the franchise, because I don't think that it is, honestly. But Saw 5 was the first one where I went, okay, I don't care anymore. Watching it years later, for the first time since it debuted in theaters, I still don't care. But before I get into the reasons why I don't care, there are a couple of things about this movie that I do like. First and foremost, I do think that there are some pretty good traps in here. I do like the pendulum kill. I think that's a really neat trap, even though it's rigged, but I do like that as just a symbolic thing. It's kind of a throwback to Edgar Allan Poe, Pit and the Pendulum a little bit. It's deeper than some of the other traps, so I like that. And I also like the whole setup, this little side story going on while you have the two agents facing off. You have our victims that have all the other traps in the movie, where you have these group of people, they're all a little bit fucked up in their own ways, and they go from room to room, and just like in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, every time they go to a new room, one of their ass has to get the fuck out.
Stop, don't come back.
And I do think some of those traps are actually pretty neat and pretty inventive, and I do like the overall like lesson that they learn by the end of it, where you get all the way to the end and they're like, see, if you would have worked together, you would not have to saw your fucking arm in half right now and give us so much blood. You could have probably just given a finger each, you know, something like that.
In order to open the door, the beaker must be filled to the marked level, a level that is of no coincidence. This amount can come from any one of you. That does not matter. What does matter is time.
I also like how they go back and they kind of alter and give a different perspective on some of the events of the first couple of films. Some of the classic traps from the first few films that we all know and love and remember. It shows the Hoffman side of the perspective, where he was actually there working with Jigsaw, like the razor wire trap. And it's cool to add further context without feeling like retconning. And that's a problem that we get into in the next couple of movies, but this movie doesn't really feel like it's retconning much. It's just like, hey, here's an extra detail about those other movies that you didn't realize that actually does help continuity a little bit. Now moving on to the negatives, and the overarching storyline of Saw 5 is you have Agent Strom, who survives this test, or this, well, not even really a test, this death trap, and he is on the trail discovering who the Jigsaw apprentice is, discovering that it's Hoffman and trying to take Hoffman down. And so this whole this agent versus agent thing going on the whole movie, I was not engaged with it whatsoever. I was not interested in it. I don't like either of the actors really playing these roles. Not that I don't maybe like them in other things. I mean, Luke's all right in Gilmore Girls, but here I don't really care for either of these characters. And I don't really care of their huge battle of wills. There's no tension there. There's no like excitement. I really don't give a shit by the end of the movie whether one wins or the other. And if I'm gonna be fair to Luke from Gilmore Girls, it's mostly because of Hoffman. I do not like this character whatsoever. And unfortunately, you're gonna have to hear me say that a couple more times, because there's more movies with this fucking guy. I think that he is the most obvious villain that I've ever seen in a movie like this. I mean, the dude is just so grizzled and just pissed off. He looks like he just sucked on somebody's asshole. He's always just got this fucked up Sour Patch fucking face. And every single time he's in a room, I'm like, obviously he's the bad guy. Like every single time he's surrounded by his peers and they're like, wait, there's clues here. Somebody is on the inside working with Jigsaw. That motherfucker, right there. He's evil as shit. Just look at him. I don't think his acting is very good. I don't think he has any kind of a presence. I don't give a shit whether or not he's conflicted or not, whether he's actually trying to give this legacy of Jigsaw some life, if he's actually trying to, further the teachings, or if he's going a little bit rogue. I really don't care, because I do not like this character at all. And this whole Hoffman chapter of Saw that we're about to be trekking on for the next couple of movies is by far my least favorite section of this entire franchise because of this character. He's just uninteresting. He's totally unsympathetic, even when they try to say, oh, the guy that he killed was the guy that butchered his sister. You don't give a shit because he's so unlikable. You're like, okay, he's an asshole, so I can't just get behind his message. I can't do it. I can't get there. And beyond that, he just muddies the already convoluted moral code of Jigsaw. I mean, Jigsaw was already skating on thin ice with me for the first couple of movies with, I want to play a game, you can win, and it's just all about teaching you something. Motherfucker, you want to kill people. Just fucking admit it. Just own it. You get to Hoffman, and it's like, okay, now it's even worse. This dude clearly wants to kill motherfuckers. Eventually, he does kill a lot of motherfuckers, and it's just, what are we doing here? What is this whole Jigsaw theme about anymore? Are we actually trying to teach people anymore, or are we just trying to show how disgusting we can tear them into pieces with these traps? Let's be honest, it's the latter. And at this point, these movies are just extremely convoluted and extremely repetitive, to where it's literally wash, rinse, and repeat. I mean, these came out every single year. They didn't have a whole lot of time to get creative. They didn't have a whole lot of time to reinvent the wheel. They just drew the same fucking wheel again and put some more blood on there. And every single year people ate these movies up, and I never understood why. And when I rewatch them, I have the same experience. I get to here and I'm like, what does this give you at all that the first couple movies didn't give you much better? Why are we still watching? Tell me. Overall, guys, not a whole lot else to say with this movie. There's not really a whole lot to even discuss about this movie aside from the things that I touched on. Saw 5, up to this point, is my least favorite of the Saw movies, but we've got even more shit to trek through, so strap in. Saw 5, to me, just continuing on, just bleeding this franchise, quite literally, no pun intended, of everything that it has, to the point where just anything that this movie gives you has been done much more interesting before, and anything new that it tries to do, I just don't give a fuck. So if you love these Saw movies, if you're a fanatic of this franchise, this movie is going to give you more of what you like about this franchise. But if you're like me and you're really just starting to get wore thin on what this franchise offers, Saw 5 has the least amount to give thus far in the franchise. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to tell you, just skip this one. So what do you guys think of Saw 5? Are you a fan of this one? Is this one your favorite? Do you love the Strom versus Hoffman battle of wills? Or do you think that this is just another mediocre Saw movie as we get closer to the shit bomb of this franchise thus far? I hope Spiral's not going to be the new one. But nonetheless, tell me, what do you guys think of Saw 5? Are you finally relieved that the Saw franchise review series has started again? I know I am. So, like and share this video. You wanted it, now share it around. Make sure everybody sees it. Hit the subscribe button so you can check out the next couple reviews in this franchise and see my review of Spiral, hopefully this Friday. And, as always, guys, thank you for watching, and remember, opinions are like assholes, but that doesn't mean that you have to be.